Merry Christmas, everybody. Yes, Merry Christmas. Hope things are going great. This is NNOA, our weekly news, views, and perspectives of all of the incredible stories happening throughout the ranks of the United States Navy, the United States Marine Corps, Semper Fi today, and the United States Coast Guard, always ready, and also all our brothers and sisters in the public health service, like Captain Simon, Medical Director of the United States Coast Guard Academy, and also all the brothers and sisters in the Oceanographic Administration, all of the groups and components of the National Naval Officers Association. Well, today is the day after Christmas in the year 2020. Hope Santa Claus was nice to you. He was real nice to me. And of course, this is Captain Rick Wright, historian for the National Naval Officers Association, and on the incredible sounds of the podcast, our executive director and producer is Roosevelt Reuben Wright III. Well, brothers and sisters, do I have a surprise for you today? Last week we had Captain Mary McAdams, and I said it was a Christmas gift program because she gave all kind of news and information and instructions on mentoring and career development as you move up through the ranks of the sea services. Well, today let's take it even deeper because I got another Christmas gift for you the day after Christmas as we get ready for New Year's. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, officers all over the world, the treat this afternoon is a superstar brother from the great state of North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. He's a graduate of the great North Carolina Central University at Durham, North Carolina. He's a brother of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. He also has recently received his Master of Arts degree in the Great Strategic Studies program at the Naval War College, Rhode Island. That's right, Newport, Rhode Island. Let me get it right. Let me just shut up here as an old Navy captain and bring on Lieutenant James Barksdale, United States Navy, a great surface warfare officer checking in from Newport, Rhode Island. Hey, Lieutenant, how things going out there in Newport, man?
Everything's going good. It's a little chilly, I tell you that. You can't get rid of this cold right now. But other than that, it's blessed to be here. Merry Christmas, and going into the new year. Blessed to be here, and thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, pleasure. Hey, how's the family doing, man?
Family's doing great. The girls and the kids and the boy, they all got what they wanted. Of course, now I'm picking up paper and all that from yesterday, but of course that's how the game goes, right? So
you're taking the Christmas wrappings, man, and put them in that big ball and find the file 13. Well, good. My God, thank God to you, and Merry Christmas, and also hopefully we got to have a great New Year.
Absolutely.
To your great family there, Lieutenant James Barksdale. Pleasure. Lieutenant Barksdale, as we kick off this edition of This is NNOA, our weekly podcast, hey, give me a kind of a background. You're born in Charlotte, North Carolina, right? What happens in Charlotte when this beautiful new brother surfaces on this thing called Mother Earth, man?
So let me take it back a couple steps. So I'm a military brat. So I was actually born in Oceanside, California. Then my dad, he was a sergeant major in the Marine Corps, ended up retiring in Lejeune. And around my freshman year of high school, we moved to Charlotte. But yeah, in Charlotte's kind of, I've called Charlotte my home, but I moved everywhere from, Japan to, Florida to Washington State. So and to Barstow, California, if you want to say that too. But yeah, I've been everywhere, but the longest I've been is in Charlotte. So I call Charlotte home, but kind of taking a step back, graduated from Hopewell High School, played football there. Was lucky enough to get a scholarship. I signed my letter of intent to the Syracuse University.
Hey, hold it, back up. You on your way to the Orange?
I was on my way to the Orange. Signed my letter of intent and everything. At the time, didn't have the grades. Unfortunately, at that time, I wasn't taking school that seriously. But I went to prep school. I went to Hargrave Military Academy, I was introduced to the military standpoint at that point. And I said, hey, the first school that gives me a letter of intent or gives me a scholarship, I'm gonna take it. And the University of North Carolina Central was the first people to give me that opportunity. So I went ahead and jumped on that. And yeah, played 4 years at North Carolina Central. Was a returner, punt returner and kick returner mainly, and did a little bit of cornerback. And then following my graduation, before I got into the Navy, I spent a year in the CFO and did that for a little bit before tearing my pectoral. And I had my kids. I said, I got to figure out something to do. And the Navy came a calling. At the time, the Navy had a program called, I don't think they have it anymore. They might have disbanded. It's called the Navy's Bachelor Degree Program.
Yeah, BDCP. Yeah.
BDCP. Yep. It's almost like NUPOC. But I was able to get in that pretty much before I graduated. And, you know, they were going to let me do my thing. If I spent out of a year, then I would have had to pay that contract back. But since I didn't, I was just a direct accession right into OCS, which was a blessing at the time. So yeah, I went to OCS in 2013, graduated in March 29th of 2013, and went to my first ship, cruiser, out of Mayport, Florida, on Gettysburg, USS Gettysburg, which was an amazing ship. We did amazing things. I think that's pretty much what set the precedence of how I am as an officer moving forward. Had an amazing captain, I met some good people, good friend. Probably one of my closest friends in the Navy now. He's a HR officer now, but he's a frat brother, the whole nine. We kept each other accountable, held each other very accountable, and probably got our surface warfare officers pen quicker than most at the time. But that was a blessing. And then from there, I moved on to the USS New York LPD, where I was fortunate enough to kind of get into the upper echelon of kind of the command spectrum. So my XO was injured in a car accident, and my ops fleeted up to XO, where I became ops, and I was ops pretty much the duration of my time on board New York. So that was kind of a sneak peek of, you know, what I had to come look forward to.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am in, you know what? God works in mysterious ways.
He does.
You know, I work heavy with the recruiting of athletes to Syracuse University in my many years on the faculty SI Newhouse School of Public Communications. Hey, what was the time span when we sent you that letter from Syracuse?
It was 2007.
Let's say, who was coaching at that time? Was it Coach Scott Schaefer? Or I'm trying to think real quick. My God,
they had just let go of the coach as I was getting ready to sign my letter of intent. It was
Reuben Wright III, the executive director of this great program, who knows more about Syracuse University athletics than even his old dad. Hey, what's that, Greg? We had Greg Robinson, right? Reuben, call it for man. I'm listening to in the studio here, man. After Greg Robinson.
Greg Robinson. This sounds familiar. Yep.
Okay. All right. And you were on your way to Syracuse. Well, hey, we got you this afternoon, and we're broadcasting, of course, from Marcellus, New York, in the suburbs of Syracuse, New York. Wow, what a story this is. But of course, you go to North Carolina Central University at Durham, where I received my Master of Arts degree in educational media.
Absolutely.
And you played, look, was O'Kelly Field still the football field?
O'Kelly Riddick Field, that's right. Yeah.
Named after Coach Riddick. You know, I used to broadcast North Carolina Central football games, and I used to shoot all the film up from the press box of the games. Oh, man.
Yeah.
And WSRC Radio. We used to do play-by-play for North Carolina Central University. God, man, wow, what a story. What a treat. This is a Christmas gift for me because I didn't know this side about you, Lieutenant. I'm looking and, you know, learning about you and all. And of course,
my wife at North Carolina Central as well. So
you met your wife at North Carolina Central.
I did.
Home of the Eagles, man.
Home of the Eagles. Eagle through and through.
You mentioned you went through the bachelor degree commissioning program at North Carolina Central.
Yes, sir.
Let me tell you a story. When I was finishing up my doctoral coursework here at Syracuse, I went on faculty at North Carolina Central University, alias Circular 1972-1973. Guess what was happening also of the year I went to North Carolina Central? Navy was setting up a naval ROTC unit at Central. You missed that one, huh? And I think it had already disbanded. We didn't get enough guys, ladies. Yeah. In fact, I'll lay out a name here this afternoon. And hey, brothers and sisters, General George Walls, United States Marine Corps, Lieutenant Barksdale, you grew up in the Marines, your dad. Here's another North Carolina Central question. No, not question, another North Carolina Central University story. Yeah, General George Walls, North Carolina Central grad, and one of the creators in the early days. I think George was a young captain at the time, Marine Corps. North Carolina Central University had an NROTC program.
Oh,
And then, of
wow.
course, crosstown with, Duke and
Duke.
UNC.
Right.
And I never forget one day, General Walls, I think Captain Walls, that came in and said, "Hey, Rick, we're bringing a Navy P-3 Orion airplane from Naval Air Station, Patuxent River. It's going to be at Raleigh-Durham Airport for about 2 or 3 days to give aviation orientation to all the NROTC guys and ladies from UNC Chapel Hill, 15501, Durham, Duke, and North Carolina Central, and North Carolina State." Oh, let me just shut up, man. I'm telling you, I am enthralled here. Thinking about my North Carolina Central days, remembering great people like the late Dr. Marvin E. Duncan, and of course, my great advisor, Dr. Norm Johnson, who was my advisor for my master's degree there, and Dr. James Parker also. Now, let's get back to you. Let me get off of me, man. Let me just shut up because I'm excited up here in Syracuse, man, hearing this story. Now, you go to OCS. Where was Officer Candidate School for you?
Right here up in Newport, Rhode Island.
Oh, you can't get away from Newport, huh? I mean, Newport's pretty in the summertime.
It's where it started and where
it's still hanging in.
It's still hanging in there.
Okay, so you come up to Newport to get your commission in the United States Navy, and after you get your commission, you head out to USS Gettysburg. You said, right?
I did, yes.
And okay, now, National Naval Officers Association, and of course, we're a great affinity group, but our membership includes people from all backgrounds and all, but our real concentration has been looking at the plight and the story of African-American United States Naval, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard officers.
Absolutely.
When you first came on board to Gettysburg, what was the wardroom like for you? Then a new ensign.
At the time, I was the only African-American on board until, like I said, my good friend, Gigi Alexander Green, who's a Naval Academy football player, but he didn't come on until about six months because he was doing a program where the Academy football players, they go back and coach at NAPS. So yeah, he didn't come on until about maybe 6 to 8 months while I was there. But for that time period, it was different. I mean, me coming from a HBCU, no really, and not having been immersed in the Navy culture, so I didn't really do ROTC and any of that, with the exception of the BDCP. But I really wasn't required to do much except recruit the program and finish my PRTs and all that. But yeah, no, it was different. I can tell you that those first 2 months were really really difficult. And on top of that, so as soon as I got there, I checked on board I never forget, I checked on board after my basic division officer school. I checked on board in June. We deployed in July for 9.5 months. So those 2 months were away from the family, all that. But it was just one of those times where you just kind of get focused and understand that this is a new era, a new phase of life, and either you sink or swim. I mean, with the SWO community, I mean, you're charged to get this qualification and getting your SWO pin, and that's your focus. So that was my focus at the time. I tried to block out everything else that didn't look like me or didn't sound like me, and I just really focused on my craft of being perfecting a surface warfare officer.
Surface warfare officer. Now, when you came aboard in the Navy, we got a lot of different communities. Was SWO, surface warfare officer, at the top of your list, agenda, designated that you really wanted?
So when I signed my my contract for BDCP, the only thing they had was for surface warfare officers at the time. But I was kind of quickly, I'd say, course corrected because at that time, the special warfare community was looking for minority officers, big time at that time, which interests me at the time, but I'd already signed a surface warfare officer contract. So I was already charged to, hey, get your pen, and from there, you can lateral transfer directly into the NSW community. So I took up that opportunity. I did submit my package for lateral transfer. I was picked up for special warfare officer. NSW, special warfare. And I had a deep conversation with my wife at the time. And here goes back. Let me take a step back. This is what I mean when I say my captain was really instrumental in my growth as a naval officer. He gave me the opportunity as soon as we got back from deployment. it gave me opportunity 3 to 4 months to go train up at NSW, and I actually went TAD to SEAL Team 10 to just really kind of understand what the lifestyle is and what is going to be demanded of me. Because everybody, it's cool, you see it all in the movies and all that, but you really want to know. And after I kind of really got that understanding of what it is, I had a conversation with my wife and just told her, hey, like, this is a different type of lifestyle, if it's a conducive for our family. But long story short, we kind of made the decision that it probably wasn't the best thing for us. And I think that really matured me at the time too. And yeah, I was okay with the decision. I respectfully declined my lateral transfer and stayed surface warfare officer. And I think that was the best, God sent. It was probably the best opportunity and best thing that could have happened to me.
This is absolutely incredible. Looking at the bachelor degree commissioning program, where you as an undergraduate at a college, and of course you at North Carolina Central University, during the summers, you didn't have the opportunity of going out on summer cruises or anything, did you?
I did not. I had no idea of anything else that was out there with the exception of surface warfare. And I really didn't know the intricacy of what surface warfare actually did at the time. So no, it was, with the exception of reading up on it, that's really it.
Ladies and gentlemen of the incredible sea services, Captain Rick Wright, this is NNOA, our weekly podcast to look at news, views, and perspectives of what is happening in the sea services. And today we are really this is a wonderful Christmas gift for yours truly, and hopefully for you and that great audience out there. Lieutenant James Barksdale, United States Navy surface warfare officer, and man, he's got an incredible story, and you haven't heard nothing yet. What I'm really ecstatic about, though, is how you were able to, most of everybody getting a commission in the Navy. You come out of the Naval Academy, and of course, you are going to run into a great fraternity brother, the Omega Psi Phi fraternity, who's going to join with you on board at Gettysburg, and you two guys going to work together with all that great discipline and intellectual genius you got to make things happen. But the thing I'm getting at is that, all of our midshipmen at the Naval Academy are going through NROTC programs. In the summertime, they go out on the summer cruises or get aviation training or SEAL training and looking at the fleet, that is. And you had none of that. And you find yourself on board the USS Gettysburg, and you dance big time to get qualified as a surface warfare officer. Hey, Lieutenant Barksdale, kind of give us a really quick stir on the curriculum of what happens in that PCS training on board a ship when you don't have your SWO pen yet. What you going through? Kind of give some of the young junior officers who might be who are looking at this, what they're going to be up against.
And just understand it's a continuous grind. And I mean, your focus and your mission is to get that surface warfare officer pen. With the industry, don't lose sight of everything that's around you. I mean, there's parts of the phases within the ship's cycle that you need to understand as well, because that's all part of being a surface warfare officer. But don't misconceive that for what the main objective is. And your main objective is to get your SWO pin. And there's different community stigmas that rise within that. It could be hard in the wardroom. Some people have said that, they weren't allowed to sit in the wardroom until they had their SWO pin, this, that, and the other. My experience wasn't like that. A lot of people were just like, hey, if you were spending too much time in the wardroom, like, hey, you know what you got to do, take care of what you got to do. We're going to hold you accountable and you're grown. But there's other commands that may treat it a little bit different. But I think what specifically kind of caught my eye and my attention was the fact that we used to have a board, the surface warfare officer board on our, as soon as you enter the wardroom, and it had a SWO pin with your name on it. And, it had a expected date for you to get it. And that was my driving. I wanted mine a month to 2 months before that expected date. And that kind of drove me to my goals and aspirations for that. But it's really kind of a self-propelled objective that you have to have in your mind. Nobody's going to hold you accountable unless you get, behind. Then it may be a little bit painful, but it's all about just kind of that self-discipline within yourself to make sure that you get it and obtain it at a reasonable time, so you can kind of learn the rest of the community after that. And I think that was my kind of blessing in disguise. Honestly, I got my SWO pin roughly around 6 to 7 months, and I had the rest of that time to really kind of soak in what being a surface warfare officer is. I mean, leading a division. I think that's what's so tangible about being a surface warfare officer. I mean, you're charged with leading a division of maybe 40 to 50 people, along with trying to get qualifications. So you're managing the personal and the professional at all at once. And then you turn around and you're trying to drive a ship at the same time. So I think the biggest thing is kind of that multitask is critical in that aspect. And if you don't have it now, you'll definitely learn how to do it throughout your time in training. But no, it's definitely a grind. So be prepared for it. But it's not overwhelming and it's not impossible to do. So just remember, you're only meeting what other men and women have met before. And it's been done by many before you. So you'll get it done.
I got some North Carolina Central University professors up in heaven coming down on me right now to bring up their names, because you had received really an incredible undergraduate education at North Carolina Central. You were a political science major too, weren't you?
I was, as political science and criminal justice.
And a great football star.
They like to say that.
Let's lay it on the table this afternoon. Hey, Dr. Leroy Walker, the world's greatest track coach, North Carolina Central University. I'm thinking about Coach George Quire, who was coach of the football team many years ago, and also Coach Riddick, who was also another great coach of the football team at North Carolina Central University. Boy, they laid that discipline, though, on that campus, getting you ready. Because what I'm also looking at, you're a political science major, but many naval officers come out of the academy, the NROTC, were engineering type majors, and here you're out there dancing and swimming and staying afloat. Wow. Now, after you leave where did the Gettysburg go while you were getting working for that swope pit? I mean, you weren't hanging at the dock. That ship was on the way, wasn't it?
No, we deployed. We deployed for 9.5, almost 10 months. A month as I checked on board. We deployed in July. We didn't get back till the end of April, early May of 2014. So no, we were Hayes Gray underway, getting it done. Did some 6th Fleet operations off the coast of Europe. And then we went down to the to 5th Fleet op area, which is the Middle East, and we were doing that. We did some counter drug ops, counter piracy. I mean, you name it, we were doing it. Then we were attached to the strike group. We were the air defense commander for the strike group. So following around the carrier. So I mean, it was a plethora of things that I got to learn, understand. And I think that's really what piqued my interest from a high operational strategic understanding of what it is that, you know, the U.S. military brings to the fight, not just from a Navy standpoint. And I think that's really kind of what piqued my interest in wanting to go to the Naval War College following, you know, my shore tour. But yeah, no, we were doing great things. And
Hayes Gray and underway. By the way, the Gettysburg was a cruiser too.
It was a cruiser. It's a mighty cruiser too. Ended up winning battle-ease the whole time I was there. You know, 3 back-to-back battle-ease, and turned around and ended up winning the Battenberg Cup, which is you know, the best ship. You see the best ship, squadron, submarine, or SEAL team unit on the and the fleet forces, so on the East Coast fleets. So yeah, we were able to win that as well, and that's a pretty big achievement. But that's a testimony to just our crew at the time. But no, it was really a really good experience to just kind of soak that time up. Granted, you know, 10 months underway, 10 months is different, but yeah, it's
was that like a 2-year tour on board the Gettysburg? I mean, number of months.
It was.
Okay. Now, you leave the Gettysburg. Do you have a shore assignment, go right back to another ship like the USS New York?
I went directly to the USS New York as the operations officer.
Oh, so you didn't you went from ship to ship.
That's right.
Great. This story is getting fascinating now. Oh, this is NNOA Lieutenant James Barksdale, surface warfare officer. He's up in Newport, Rhode Island. And ladies and gentlemen, he's coming off of the USS New York, which is an LP? What's that?
LPD.
LPD. Okay, you know, you great surface warfare officer, helped this old captain out. In fact, I went on board the USS New York when it was tied up at Norfolk one time, late one night. I said, I got to go on board this ship. And I think I woke up the command duty off. Everybody was asleep. And I never forget that day, but it was fascinating.
Yeah.
Now, are we getting closer to the naval? No, we're not. at the Naval War College yet, are we?
Not
Look,
quite.
I just happen to be looking at your incredible resume of naval activities, and I see the word detailer popping up. Detailer. I mean, you're the person who goes to Washington, D.C., or I don't know if it's in Milton or wherever it might be, but the Naval Personnel Command. And the detailer is the person who's got a lot of power with regards to selecting all those new ensigns and Lieutenant JGs or whatever on their next duty assignment. Am I in the right direction, Lieutenant Barksdale, trying to come
That's
up with
correct.
your incredible leadership abilities in that bill? Tell us about your role as a detailer for all those young junior officers out there, because they got to talk to one. We got one.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, the detailing opportunity was probably the most professionally rewarding opportunity that I had in the Navy thus far. I just kind of really understood the business of the Navy. So not only did I have 1,400 junior officers ranging from ensign to lieutenant, but I also had new commissions, new accessions, what we called it. So I had all the mids from USN, I had all the mids from all the NROTC units, and I had all the mids from OCS. They all came through me as the new accessions detailer. But I think what was most beneficial about that experience was sitting in the boards, being able to sit in the board and understand what these board members are talking about, what they're screening and what they're looking at when it comes to fit reps and paperwork, and what you want to have on your paperwork and what your paperwork should say moving forward into your next milestone in your career. It's critical. Just kind of understanding that nuance is a lot of people don't understand, which is surprising, but at the end of the day, it's not so surprising, because you don't get an opportunity like that unless you're at Millington as a detailer. But yeah, no, it was definitely tough. I mean, I'm averaging probably about 120 to 140 emails a day, ranging at all time frames, because you're getting it from, all different time zones. But it was just a rewarding experience as well, because that you're helping the fleet and helping that particular officer kind of get what they need in their professional standpoint as well.
Okay, Lieutenant Barksdale, already. Now, I'm a brand new ensign, man. I've just finished United States Naval Academy, or Navy NROTC. My grades are kind of okay, all right? I'm just trying to create a picture of how probably Captain Wright would have been coming out of undergrad school. All right, and of course, I have another story I'll tell you about when I tried to get a naval officer commission when I was an undergraduate student at Elizabeth City State University in 1964 for another day. But right now, okay, I'm a brand new ensign, coming out of Naval Academy or one of our NROTC programs in one of our 62 campuses all over the country. Let's say I am okay, let me give myself a major real quick. I'm a biology major, all right? And I got my commission. Now, you're in the process of deciding where I'm going to go, right?
Yeah, if you've already committed to being a surface warfare officer.
Okay, yeah, I want to be a SWO. Okay, I happen to went out one night, and guys said, "Hey, man, if you join the Navy and see the world, if you really want to see the world real quickly, man, become a surface warfare officer." Or maybe yet I've also, of course, out of the Naval Academy or NNROTC program, I have done summer cruises and all. Okay, absolutely. That's how I made my selection. Okay, I've just had my, graduation. I walked across stage, got my baccalaureate degree. And I had my board, the pretty choker white uniform on. It's graduation, and I'm a new ensign and surface warfare officer community. I'm coming out. Have I called you, or you calling me? What happens at this point? How do I get that?
Yeah, you probably reached out to me. If not, then I'm going to reach out to you. You've got your orders in hand, so kind of your marching orders. So first, you're going to go to basic division officer school. Well, let me back up. Now there's a junior officer course, JOOD course. That's going to give you kind of radar fundamentals, ARPA training, just the fundamentals of how to stand a proper watch. And then from there, you're going to go to BDOC, which is Basic Division Officer course, and teach you how to be a division officer, a lot of billet specialty training for, kind of being a division officer, as well as just kind of the overall kind of broad spectrum of what you bring to a fight within a strike group or a amphibious readiness group, ARG, right? but you just kind of get the lay of the land, so you're just not walking in the dark. And then from there, you check on board your first ship. And then at that point, I'd say reach out to your detailer, because we break them up by letter groups. So I had letter group H through M. It's broken up letter groups T through B, C through G, H through M, and I I forget the other one.
You don't have to worry about forgetting
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Lieutenant James Barksdale, detailer for the surface warfare officer community. I'm a brand new ensign, man. I'm scared to death. I don't know nothing. I got to go to officer base.
absolutely.
Look, is it the needs of the Navy, or as you feel the billeting, that is, putting the officers on various ships all over the world? You got that big board up there, and they got their needs. People have rotated off,
Mhm.
replacements, and all of that. It's all that's all that's figuring into the decision process.
Absolutely. All that's vetted out before. We'll talk to the XOs of the ships, and they'll, put their claim in. Hey, I need, X amount of ensigns from the Navy Academy, X amount of ensigns from the NRTC, or basically just a broad scope of I
Now the
need this amount of
OCS or
ensigns.
whatever,
Oh
yes.
yeah, whatever. OCS is pretty much good because they're always, we're commissioning ensigns every 3 months in OCS,
Roger.
so you can kind of fill the needs as needed with OCS folks, which is really good. Um, but yeah, NRTC and excuse me.
Oh,
Uh,
bless you, bless you. Merry Christmas, everybody. Lieutenant James Barksdale up in Newport, Rhode Island, man, with a candy store and all them clubs on the waterfront are jump in the summertime. Kind of cold up there right now because it's December, the day after Christmas. Look, Lieutenant, um, looking at that whole world of the detailer, and I'm
mhm,
really, we're with the National Naval Officers Association, a big outreach that I'm really want to do with this podcast. That Roosevelt Reuben Wright III is exec director, as we broadcast out of upstate New York, Syracuse, Marcellus, New York, once a week, is really to get the word out to those young junior officers for we talk about really the keys to success, right?
that's right. That's right.
Because
Yeah.
we do have, some people haven't paid attention to detail, and troubles can kind of show up in the career. And
Hmm.
we want to put the information out so that those minefields, you will know where they are and making it. And I
Right.
think I'm trying to navigate now through this incredible water of this podcast right now. Lieutenant Barstow, look, you end up at the United States Naval War College at Rhode Island, and I think you're surfing really ahead of schedule, as most naval lieutenant surface warfare types can get there. I'm so proud of you, is what I'm indicating this afternoon. And you get to the
Thank
United
you.
States Naval War College at Newport, Rhode Island, and this is a program leading to a Master of Arts degree, right?
Correct. That's
Tell
right.
us about how did that transition show up in your wonderful naval career of getting to the Naval War College?
So from understanding what I saw on the boards, there was a advocacy of folks that went to the Naval War College that did really, really well on the boards just because they understood strategic development and what, the tactical and how tactical and affects strategic. So I wanted to go to the Naval War College. I had to get a congressional waiver because, as you know, lieutenants aren't allowed to go to the Naval War College. It's an '04 and above school. So once I pushed that through and it was approved, I was on my way to Naval War College. But had I not known what I knew from the detailing standpoint, which is critical, understanding, kind of take a step back, everything is waiverable in the Navy. And I think there's a misconception of, if somebody tells you no, then it's a done deal. It really isn't. It's not a closed door at any point. If you want it and you want to push hard enough, there's literally a waiver for everything. Now, the caveat to that is your record has to be able to speak for that, what you're asking for. Um, but like I said, as that came through and I got accepted to that, I was on my way to the Naval War College after I completed my detailing tour. What I did not know was that I was put in for a fellowship at that time as well, which is a Halsey Fellowship, which studies major threats out of the major AORs, the big three: Russia, China, and Iran. But so along with my curriculum at the Naval War College, I was, as an elective, I was in the Halsey program. I was specific to Halsey Bravo, which is a CENTCOM AOR, which is really good. I mean, eye-opening, understanding kind of what these, 3 and 4 star level equivalents are talking about and worries them about, which I think is critical because that's the probably the AOR that I'll be going back to when I deploy again. But yeah, it was an amazing
A
time.
Halsey Bravo Fellowship at the United States Naval War College, Newport, Rhode Island, named after Admiral Halsey,
Mm,
World War II fame.
yeah.
Lieutenant Barksdale, now it's time to bring up a name,
Okay.
a real incredible name of leadership and teachings, the late Captain Dr. Will Bundy. I did an article on him in the NNOA newsletter back in the 1980s. He was a lieutenant commander at that time and met him, and what an incredible brother. I'm
Hmm.
sure you had, I'm sure Dr. Bundy's incredible professional leadership at the Naval War College surfaced in your life, didn't it?
Oh, it did. So actually, I knew I had the opportunity to meet Dr. Bundy probably about three years prior to me actually arriving to the War College. I met him at a distributed lethality conference where the Navy was really kind of focused on war fighting strategics, and war gaming. So they brought him out to San Diego, and I had just got flown out there from my ship because we wanted to kind of understand what was going on, and he was kind of the driving force within this meeting and this juncture that we were having. And I, at the time, me and him were the only brothers in the room, of course. And he took, pulled me aside and said, "Hey, hey, I see you're very young." I was a JG at the time. He said, "Hey, let's talk, let's chat." So we kept in touch pretty much the entire time. And then I was a detailer. He's like, "Hey, you got to think about your masters after this, And I was like, "Well, I'd like to come up there with you." So
Yes.
we made it. We made it happen, and the 6 months that we spent time, like I'd say almost every other day, I was in his office, just kind of telling him my experience of what I should be doing, what I'm thinking about, and it's just kind of that dialogue was really really good. We got closer over that time before he passed, and I was there when he passed. Actually, was there with him probably about 2 days before. We had an NNOA function in Newport. Um, and he passed a couple days after that. But yeah, he was an instrumental force in my career, and I think a lot of the things that he taught me is something that I move forward with consistently. I think the biggest thing for him was his humility. Was I mean, you wouldn't know unless you kind of really looked him up at all the things that he did. But that's kind of the drive that I have. All that is in the past. He gave me that mentality of, what you've done is in the past. It's time to kind of rewrite and continue to write your story, kind of moving forward. And that's the way I've approached the Navy. Honestly, whatever I've done that's in the past, and I know it'll probably help in the future. But it's continuing trying to be a better naval officer and a better human being, a better man, moving forward. And that's what he taught me, definitely, as I move forward in this career.
Boy, mentoring, man, is the key to this whole effort. And also, when you're
Absolutely.
in any kind of academic learning environment, to get a mentor or that professor, man, who can take you under your wings and sit down and listen, man. I
Mhm.
know all my years of teaching in academia, I've taught in 5 universities, of course, 38 here at Syracuse University, where, my God, well, you didn't get here, but you're here now. Football in the world famous Carrier Dome. But you went to O'Kelly Field, just as good at North Carolina Central University. Dr. Bundy, when I heard that he had passed, man, I just cried because I had talked to him recently about the Centennial Seven, the
Mhm.
great African-American brothers, submarine commanders and
Mhm.
all, and some of the things and efforts that we wanted to do for that community with the National Naval Officers Association. So this is really a blessing, another Christmas gift for me, knowing that you are the mentee of Captain Dr. Will Bundy at the United States Naval War College, Rhode Island, man, Newport. Lieutenant, now you've gone through the great Admiral Halsey Bravo Fellowship Program for your Master of Arts degree. And for a lot of our young, JOs out there who'll be probably eventually getting to the Naval War College, I know Lieutenant Commander Stacy O'Neill, who's now an XO out there, she was up at Newport, and we used to talk all the time about the curriculum there. Also, I'll make this statement real quick. I was invited. I gave the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. annual speech, all commands at Newport many years ago, and the NNOA chapter up in Newport invited me up, and I had a chance to go over to the War College and talk to the dean there. We sat in the office looking at that beautiful waterfront, you know, the bridge, and just fascinating. And he was talking to me about, hey, and I think at the time I was captain, I think I just around this around 1992 or 93, somewhere in that era. And he said, hey, Captain, you got to come to the Naval War College, be a professor here, or at least an adjunct or something. I said, I'll give it some thought, but I was so busy at Syracuse. Now, Lieutenant James Barksdale, as I'm going from my educator professional background for me, tell us about the academic curriculum for a Master of Arts degree, and especially as a Halsley Fellow that you went through. In a quick, short, do it in a kind of way you want to, but get the word out to some of our young JOs who might be looking at this experience in their future. What Absolutely. Are they up against?
No, the curriculum is very detailed, and I would say it's pretty rigorous at the same time. But I think the rewarding part of it is you kind of understand holistically everything about it from the history standpoint, because it's broken down into the phases of JPME, so the Joint Military Professional Education Program. So you're going to go through kind of the political standpoint of, how the military is affected and integrated within kind of Congress, Senate, House, all that. Then from there, you go into naval history. They'll break down every single war, kind of moving up to what we've been into so far. And then the third phase is the JPME phase, and that's kind of the war game kind of phase, and which is critical. But the Halsey is it kind of gives you a step away back from just the academia, and you kind of understand the full spectrum of what strategically we're doing as a force right now, and which is critical. And then you're kind of putting a lot of together the wargaming tactics as well. But I think my biggest thing that I really learned from that standpoint was the global integrated war games that they have at the Naval War College, which is really critical. They have it every year, all the way, CNO to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staffs are there, learning, how to fight the next fight, what's the new ways, and what's new happening, what's happening new that could trip us up in a conflict. So we're constantly wargaming those things out, which is critical. And you kind of really see, okay, this is bigger than just, putting pen to paper and writing, 12 pages for to get your master. Yeah. It's bigger than that. It's a lot bigger than that. So you quickly understand the strategic level of thinking of what you're doing. So
now you got the Master of Arts degree. By the way, the executive director of This Is NNOA, Roosevelt Reuben Wright III, is finishing up his master's degree at the SI Newhouse School of Public Communication here at Syracuse. I'm sure in the control room, he's checking this out right now, see what it would take to get through a master's program at the Naval War College. Now, Lieutenant James Barksdale, our guest today on this edition of This Is NNOA, our weekly podcast looking at the news and views of the National Naval Officers Association. And Merry Christmases, everybody, because we are putting this program together on the 26th of December in the year 2020. What a challenging year this has been. And of course, our next edition will be rolling into a brand new year, 2021. Well, Lieutenant James Barksdale, the year 2021 is only about a week away. And at this stage of your naval career, you just got your master's degree. Are you still at Newport for some more schooling? And I'm sure there's another ship waiting for you by the pier of the United States Navy. Kind of bring us up where you are right now.
So right now I'm currently at a Surface Warfare Officer School. I thought it was kind of integral for me to get back into the bread and butter of what we do. So I've been teaching COVE, which is basically simulator training for the young JOs, getting them taught up on how to drive a ship. And then from there, just getting into the tactics again of what it means to fight the ship as well. But then following from there, I'll get ready to class up for department head school. I'm going to be a department head. That starts in early January, and I should finish roughly around the summertime. And then I'm heading to be the operations officer on the USS Farragut down in Florida, down in Mayport, Florida.
So you are headed to the St. Johns River, Mayport, Florida, and you'll be the ops officer.
I
Oh,
will
the
be. I'm
career
sorry.
is right on time. Hey, big hello, big Merry Christmas to Captain Milton Troy III, big CO up at Newport there. Also a brother of the Omega Psi Phi fraternity. By the way, all the Omega brothers throughout the United States Navy, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard, friendship is essential to the soul. As we talk to Dr. That is Lieutenant, I'm giving you the doctor. You're going to get that eventually too. Lieutenant James Barksdale, United States Navy Surface Warfare Officer. What a day this has been. What a Christmas gift this has also been for me, especially with the North Carolina Central University connection there. Now, Lieutenant, when will you report down to sunny Florida?
I
And
should
what's that ship, the USS Farragut?
USS Farragut.
What is that? One of those new Ollie Burke destroyers or
It's a
something?
DDG. It's a destroyer.
DDG.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before I let you go this afternoon, you report on board that ship. Give all these young junior JOs or surface warfare officer types, what are the responsibilities of an ops officer on board a Ollie Burke class naval destroyer?
My job is to make sure the captain's intent is pushed outside of the skin of the ship. So I'm going to be talking to, our boss, which is the Desron Destroyer Squadron's operation kind of element and 3, as well as the strike group, whatever the strike group needs from our ship specifically. But more so just kind of being that voice for the CEO, understanding what he needs or he or she needs at the time. Also running my department. So I'll have, of course, I'll have the first division. So I'll have all the deck and the bosun mates. I'll have kind of the CTTs, so the intricate intel portion of what the ship is, and I'll have the operations specialists. The
OSs, they call them.
OSs, that's right. Yeah, I'll have those. So I'll have an intricate hand in combat as well. So, from a ship standpoint, I'll be pretty integral, but from a outside high tactical thinking of what our ship is and what it brings to kind of a larger scale, I'll be ingrained in, I'll have my hands in that as well. So I'm excited to get there. I'm excited to get back to people, leading people, because that's really what the bread and butter of what we do is. It's about leading people and being a positive influence in their life, and that's what I'm most excited about, honestly. So yeah, when I check on board, they're getting everything and more that I've got to offer, and hopefully, kind of moving forward, we'll continue this trajectory. But definitely excited and blessed.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, family of the National Naval Officers Association, it has indeed been an honor today to have on our podcast news, views, and perspectives of the sea services and the membership of the National Naval Officers Association, Lieutenant James Barksdale, United States Navy Surface Warfare Officer, graduate of the North Carolina Central University, Durham, North Carolina. Also, Master of Arts degree from the United States Naval War College, Newport, Rhode Island. He's been a detailer, and he is incredible. Lieutenant, what can I say? What an incredible opportunity is on the table for you. And also, you are playing a major mentoring and role modeling as we do our podcast this afternoon to all those other young junior officers like those new ensigns and Lieutenant JGs who are trying to find their way in the fleet right now.
Absolutely.
Well, Lieutenant Barksdale, what can I say, guy? So, by the way, when will you report down to Mayport, man, on the St. Johns River?
Yeah, I'll schedule to report in November of 2021. So I'll have a couple of schools to go through following my completion of department head school. But I should check in roughly around November of 2021.
Well, let's kick off the year 2021 with a real big-time career and a story of greatness. For a brand new year. The year 2020 has been a most challenging year for us. But Lieutenant James Barksdale, United States Navy Surface Warfare Officer, on behalf of Admiral Sinclair Harris, United States Navy retired, who's a Surface Warfare Officer, and our Executive Vice President, Captain Simone Blanchingame, and all of our board members of the great National Naval Officers Association. It has been a pleasure to have you on board this afternoon. Haze, gray, and underway. Lieutenant James Barksdale, please give my best to those beautiful family members of yours. You have three beautiful Navy young people, right?
That is true. I do have three little ones. A boy Apollo, my daughter Faith, and my youngest daughter Hope.
And your beautiful wife, you discovered and found her where?
At the amazing North Carolina Central. She was a cheerleader, and she is a Delta as well. So.
Oh, sweethearts of Omega Deer, Delta Sigma Theta. Well, Lieutenant, boy, I could talk to you forever, but I know you're busy. You got to take care of the family the day after Christmas. You got more wrapping paper to get to file 13 and all that good stuff, and keep studying heavy for your department head school and teaching all those surface warfare officers up at Newport. By the way, before I let you go, I love cruising into Newport in the summertime. And in my Navy days of serving as public affairs officer, running the public affairs operation for the Navy's Great Lakes cruise, man, all those FFGs like the USS Samuel Eliot Morrison and all, after we've cruised the American and Canadian Great Lakes for 3 months, we would get around the Gulf of St. Lawrence, pull into Newport about the end of August. Man, the place was rocking. It was incredible. So, Lieutenant, you need me, you know how to find me. So, ladies and gentlemen, I salute Lieutenant James Barksdale. This has been Captain Rick Wright, host of This is NNOA, historian for the National Naval Officers Association. And this production is produced and directed by the Executive Director, Roosevelt Reuben Wright III. And we broadcast every week from upstate New York, Marcellus, New York, in the suburbs of Syracuse. Lieutenant, it could have been go orange, but hey, everything is good. Love you. See you later, and I'll get back to you. All righty. Have a great New Year, everybody, from upstate New York. And this is NNOA with Captain Rick Wright, United States Navy, retired.